Our final guest speaker is Romeyn Harnden. Ryan is the General Manager, Integrated Operations at Rio Tinto Iron Ore. Over a 23-year career in the mining industry, Ryan has developed a diverse skill set from early beginnings in surveying, short-term planning and mine engineering, through to senior leadership roles in mine production, refinery and power plant operations, to his current role in system integration and optimisation. Ryan has worked in tantalum, lithium, iron ore, copper, coal and gold across Western Australia, Queensland and Utah in the US. Ryan has a passion for system optimisation, leadership, safety and people development. He is focused on developing the systems, symbols and behaviours to enable the people and the business to perform at their best. Ryan is proud father of 2 young girls, husband to Natalie, and is currently interested in weightlifting for fitness. Ryan is going to present Intentional Use of Your Time. Let's go, Ryan.
Hi everyone. Have you thought about the importance of creating win-win relationships? Are you intentional in using your time to set up yourself for your next career move? I'm going to share one of my biggest learnings during my career so far. To set the scene, I was offered an opportunity to move to the USA and work in one of the world's largest mines, the Bingham Canyon copper mine for Rio Tinto. The GM wanted me to be his successor. So I was motivated to move my family to Utah and was solely focused on doing the best job possible in learning the site, the business, and the culture to then get promoted to that role. After a year in the role as mine development manager, and for context, that role was responsible for all the work no one else wanted to do. So the capital process, power, water, snow removal, garbage removal, and so on. The existing GM was promoted to a new role in Australia. And while the leadership team interviewed for the replacement, I was put in as the acting GM. The recruitment for the role was out of 2 current managers in the business, so myself and the concentrator manager. I was very confident for the role as I'd been working in the mine. I was the GM's 2IC and I was already acting as the GM. I was across all the issues, so I thought I was a sure thing. After the recruitment process, the other manager was successful in getting the role and I was devastated. I thought I had done everything possible to be the right choice. I'd moved my family across the globe with only that role in mind. I'd been focused on only that role and then missed out. What now? Had I just wasted all that time and effort? I debriefed with multiple people to identify what I could have done differently to be successful, and this is what I learned. I learned that I had to define the relationship that I had with each person that would have been involved in making the decision to appoint the position. Similar to the slide, I drew tables with the names of each of the leadership teams involved in this decision. The executive team, the senior leadership team, and then the mine leadership team. I learned that I had to challenge myself on what relationship I actually had with each of those people, and if they were a supporter, a detractor, or if they were neutral. And neutral means they don't know you. I learnt pretty quickly that a detractor and neutral are both negative. And you want and you need a supporter out of each person that can influence the decision. I learnt I hadn't engaged with some of the stakeholders enough, particularly one person I had no relationship with at all. The housing GM for Kennecott, I was a mining manager. I didn't see why I needed to know the housing GM for Kennecott. I'd been told that it had been very close between the 2 candidates, and the fact that I had a neutral or a detractor and the other candidate had all supporters pushed it over the line for him. So some questions for you. Are you building your supporter base? Are you creating win-win relationships with people who can influence your future? How, you ask? I already have a full workload. The answer is intentional use of your time. So this is a busy slide, but as you start a new role, the effort required to learn all aspects of that role is very high. As you get to the peak of this, generally the midpoint of that role, the effort required is less to perform at that same high standard. You then need to use that effort intentionally. So to take your career to the next level. Have you created win-win engagements so people don't see you as just connecting to look after yourself? Have you got sound bites or key bits of information at the ready for when you connect with those key people on your tables to highlight your important work so they can remember you? So back to my story. I dusted myself off and I went about creating win-win relationships with the people I'd identified. I spent a few months helping the housing GM's team fix their safety and leadership in the field process with my spare intentional time. One day I was walking past the housing GM and he stopped me to thank me for the work I was doing with his team. And he asked, "What can I do for you?" And I said, "Well, I've really enjoyed working in a team and I've learnt a lot, but I do have one thing to ask. The next time my name comes up, I'd really like you to be a supporter." And he said, "Gladly," and walked away. So 2 months later, the refinery and power plant GM job came available and I was successful in getting that role, which in hindsight was a far better role for me and a far greater challenge as it tested my skills and my leadership outside of my core skill set of mining. My career acceleration power tip for you is, are you intentionally using your time to create win-win relationships? I hope this power tip is helpful for all of you as you map out your next steps. And thank you.
Yay! Congratulations. Let's give him a round of applause, everybody. How do you feel?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Yeah.
A little bit nervous still.
Well, good. I'll have the clicker back.
Thank you.
Very insightful speech. Very powerful.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I can feel how devastated you would have been when you got overlooked for that promotion. You'd travelled all the way to the US with Natalie. Where is she? Natalie? Hi. For the purpose of progressing your career. And then you didn't get it. Yeah. Raw.
Yeah, very raw. You can still
Yeah, you can
almost
feel
break
it.
up. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally. And the thing is, I actually know for sure that building relationships is one of your key leadership strengths. You're outstanding at it.
Thank you.
You're inclusive and you're a huge significance giver. You were when I worked with you back in Yandy, and even Ryan came along to an Ambitious Leaders Network event a couple of years ago and came along to my How to Accelerate Your Career in 12 Months or Less training. And you actually interrupted the training, right?
A couple of times.
to be inclusive and to give me significance, to actually recognise the impact that I had at Yandy, which included raising the standards and including correcting the managing director for calling me Katie. I told him that he must call me Katie-Jeyn as well. Yeah. And so even though relationship building is one of your key leadership strengths, your blind spot was that you missed one key person.
Yep.
And it was devastating for you. And you were very fortunate that somebody helped you to point that out, right?
Yep.
And the other really key leadership strength of yours is that you really love to teach other people the lessons that you've learned,
Yep.
So that they don't have to travel the same path, which is exactly what you've done tonight, and it's super vulnerable, but it's an awesome leadership trait. So we all really appreciate you. I love that you've come along the Ambitious Leaders Network, and I've loved that we've got to work together again. So let's congratulate Ryan, everybody. Amazing! You did that.